Do you suppose have you ever run across since your heart attack, or do you have any idea that it created this attitude in some people's minds? Well, it just goes to show you, you don't have to exercise. Here's a guy who's doing everything right, eating right. I'm going to go on drinking and smoking. If it's karma, or your number's up when it's up, or exercise is the worst thing you can do.
Right.
All of that.
I know. I remember reading an exercise, a comment by Robert Morley, the British Airways, who said he was going to try as hard as he could to do as little as he could. Mm-hmm. And he looks like it. He's a rather rotund-looking fellow, but...
oh, yeah, he's one of the prime enemies of exercise.
Yes,
he admits that.
But there are some people who don't exercise at all, lead very sedentary lives, smoke. My grandmother did all of that for a long time. She was a tobacco farmer in Southern Virginia, and she chewed it and put it under her lip and did everything to it. And she drank a little bit, made her own, and she lived to be 96. Yeah. The women in my life live a long time. The men, not quite so fortunate, but my father's had 2 heart attacks. Mm-hmm. He had his second heart attack a week before I did.
Yeah.
So
a week before?
A week before, yes. And supposedly, although Nathan Pritikin told me the other day that there's no such thing, but heart disease is hereditary. Mm-hmm. You can pass it down, and matter of fact, as you pass it down, it can get worse. Mm-hmm. And it's prevalent in the males. That is, if a girl is born, you don't have to worry about it too much. I mean, she could develop heart problem, but probably not.
Yeah. So, in your case, hereditary would probably be the culprit,
yes,
and it's possible.
And stress, I'm sure, is a part. I've just come a couple of days ago from Miami. I'm the 1981 American Heart Association National Campaign Chairman. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to raise $101 million next year for the American Heart Association. And in talking to all of those real high-powered, eminent cardiologists and cardiac surgeons, they all, because I asked them about my particular case, my instances wherein somebody went through what I did, they think, by and large, that it is hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stress plays a part, but it's very difficult to tell how much a part stress plays. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, for instance, I don't know, there's probably a lot of stress in what you do, but they couldn't put a number on it and say, Mr. Cavett, if you do this much stress, then you'll probably decrease your life by so many more minutes, as they do with, say, cigarette smoking and some other risk factors.
What could you have done to reduce the stress and all that you were doing?
I don't know. I'm probably a type A personality, but I do internalize a lot of things. Mm-hmm. When I was 10 years old, and I was taken under the wing of my tennis mentor, Dr. Johnson, in Lynchburg, Virginia. He went under the assumption that the young black kids that he had to have impeccable manners, because if they didn't, they would be kicked out. He assumed that the white tournament directors would find any excuse they could to kick him out. This is in the early 50s.
This is a man who was really your, not your Svengali, but
almost,
maybe in a way.
Right,
He taught you how to behave and how to be...
It was a total concept. Not only hit balls, but your clothes had to be clean and you had to behave yourself. And even when we changed ends during junior matches, if I had served the game just before changing ends, I was to pick up the balls on my side of the court and literally hand them to my opponent. Mm-hmm. And if any ball were hit near one of the lines, if it was at least close, I was to call it in, because in those days juniors obviously didn't have full complement of linesmen, but you had to go through all that. And several times, obviously, I knew a ball was out, but it was very close. I'd say, good shot.
Yeah. You were bending over backwards, and inside there had to be a certain amount of anger at being penned up.
And the other thing was, which I'm finding out now, actually, my mother died when I was 6 years old, and I'm not really sure how I reacted to that. although I seem to have adjusted awfully well, but I'm not really sure how I adjusted, so now I'm trying to find out if I did adjust well or not.
How are you trying to find out?
I'm seeing an analyst.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And can you can you ask for
all the time, but
Yeah.
I mean, I finally got, my curiosity just got the best of me, and I really wanted to find out the stress factor in my heart attack. I mean, the family history was obvious.
Sure,
that's
you can
well
know that.
documented, but I would like to know, for one, also possibly if my mother's death when I was 6 years of age, if I internalized it so much that it might have been a heavy factor.
Sure. Yeah.